I have been a copywriter for nearly 8 years now. I want to start by talking to you guys a little bit about me, my background and my story, and where I'm at in this crazy entrepreneurial journey. I know some of you may know a little bit of my story, some of you may not know any of it, and it's just fun to tell and fun to share with other people and see the things we have in common and stuff like that. So my company provides copywriting, funnel development, and design services. I have been a copywriter for nearly 8 years now, done many multi-millions of dollars in sales, and I'm growing each and every single day, learning more direct response strategies. That's our wheelhouse. All things internet direct response is what we crush it in and what we're really proficient at. And the way I started doing this is pretty crazy. And just to let you know, what I'm going to go on to talk about is how to be able to get a steady stream of clients, how to be able to get clients on demand if you want them, and just kind of ways to make that process more effortless for you so people are always knocking on your door no matter what, and some tips for how to manage all of that stuff. I started doing what I do, starting mainly with just copywriting, about 8 years ago. After I graduated from college, I went to a really good school, and the people who graduate from there are supposed to do amazing things and get these great jobs, normally in investment banking, and they're lawyers and they're doctors and all that stuff. And I thought I was going to go down the investment banking path, making a lot of money, being able to afford amazing experiences, being able to help other people, and having freedom to do whatever I want, whenever I want, was always widely important to me. And I saw investment banking being a way to potentially make enough money to be able to live that sort of lifestyle. When I graduated in 2008, you might have remembered that's when we had the housing bubble, banks shut down, right? And everything just sort of went to crap, and the financial services industry being part of the Great Recession and all of that stuff. So getting a job was much harder to come by than I ever thought it would be. I always had sort of a knack and an interest in marketing, so other jobs that I tried to look for would be assistantships. I had a couple of jobs like that. And whenever the task came up to write something, and I would write it, be it an email, be it a little about us page on the website, a Google AdWords ad, or anything like that, my boss would tell me, oh, you write everything for us now. So I kind of learned that I had this writing talent. And if you have any sort of love of writing, but you don't know how the hell to make any money from it, and you want to, some people don't want to make any money from their writing, and that's totally fine. But if you do, then think about how you can tweak your writing, be it creative writing, poems. I'm getting a master's degree in poetry, so you could be a poet, it's okay. But there is a way for you to transition that perhaps into copywriting and being paid to write. So when I realized I had this little bit of a talent, I would look for opportunities on the side for me to earn more money, and I would realize that this talent that I had was being not compensated enough in my places of employment. I could watch an email go out and make the company hundreds of thousands of dollars in CPA leads, and I was still getting my low hourly wage. So I Googled the phrase, how to make money online. And I wonder how many people, like if you're listening now or when you're watching this playback, if you've ever Googled that phrase before, because I find so many people in our space have Googled how to make money online. So I Googled how to make money online, and I found a place called the Warrior Forum. And I saw a Warriors for Hire section where people would offer their services. A lot of copywriters were on there, website developers, website designers, people good at SEO and getting you ranked at Google. Everybody was on. And I was like, maybe I'll offer my copywriting service on there. I had never written a direct response style sales letter in my life, but I read the other people who were offering their services and I decided to give it a try. At the time, it cost something like $40 to put up the ad, and that was so much money to me. It made me so nervous. I undercut the entire market. So this is how I got by and got my first clients without having any results at all, okay? First, I saw that the cheapest anybody was offering to do a sales letter for was $97. I charged $67. And on top of that, I acknowledged within my copy selling my services that I have no experience. And that's why you're going to get this at the absolute best rate you'll ever be able to get it. And if my words in this letter are convincing you to try it out, then I'm sure I could get you more customers too. So instead of using any past proof or experience, I just sort of tried to tweak their heartstrings and their emotions and use that testable proof where, well, if she's getting me interested in hiring her, maybe she's pretty good, basically. And from that night, I closed, I believe, 6 clients, clicked the button, paid me through PayPal while I was asleep. And, whatever that is, about $360 I wake up to in the morning, and, my whole life, changed. It was a total game changer for me. Those letters did well. One of them did so well that it was a #1 in ClickBank, which you might know of as a place where people buy and sell mostly digital products. It was #1 in ClickBank for over 2 years in a very competitive category, the business and investing category, and that letter is still online. You can check it out. It's milliondollarpips.com. At least last I checked a couple months ago, it was actually still online. So that's been making sales for Lord knows. I'm not very good at chronology, but maybe six years now, that's been the control. And that sales letter cost that client $67. So that's pretty wild. Like I said, from then on, I was hooked. I learned so much more about the industry with each and every new client I had. I learned about product launches. I learned about attracting affiliates. I learned about designing for conversion. I learned just everything that you learn when you immerse yourself into this internet marketing, direct response, young entrepreneur community type places where I want to go now. I have grown my company out of being just me writing sales letters to a full-on design and development team where we do awesome direct response style funnels for supplements, digital marketing products. We do email sequences and funnels. Anything that you want to sell more stuff, we'll create offers, we'll optimize offers. And I try to use my wonderful network with so many of you guys to create strategic connections, be it through affiliate promotions, somebody who needs analytics, whatever it is. I try to make those connections happen as well, just because I love being immersed in the industry and I love knowing what everybody's up to. That's a little bit about where I'm at right now. So I've grown, like I said, from just me to a team of 6 people. And if people want to know more about how I built that team, really, I do have one incredible secret for building a team because it was something I thought I could never really do. I always pictured myself as a one-woman shop. So if you want to know my really sneaky secret for building a team, because it is super sneaky, I'll let you know. But you guys gotta let me know if you want to know that. How do you get a steady stream of clients? And this is important if you're a copywriter, if you're a designer, if you own a marketing agency, if you provide any sort of service. And these principles, they're going to carry through into how do you get the best deals with people, how do you connect with people you want to connect with for any sort of reason. Sort of all carries over and bleeds into each other, right? So there are a few things I want to say with regards to getting a consistent stream of clients. First of all, if you're not doing paid advertising and if you're not doing a referral program, and even if you are, it's very likely that clients will actually come more in waves than in a steady stream. you'll notice that in like the end of Q4 and during the middle of the year, there are these spikes where, especially in our industry, if you're doing direct response stuff, people are in more of a rush and they are going to do more to get their stuff online. And that's where you're going to see more prospects coming in through the door, typically no matter what your client generation strategy is. So just bear that in mind. Be aware of when the boom times are going to be. Make sure you're structured and you have everything you need in place and your schedule is in line enough to be able to handle both the big surges in clients and the droughts where there are less clients and you're maybe more in a maintenance phase of doing stuff with your existing clients or doing stuff to grow your own personal brand. So just bear that in mind. The most important thing that I could tell you in being able to have a steady stream of clients is that if you do great work, people will want to refer you. People will talk about you. It makes them seem smart. It makes the person who says, oh yeah, I have this fantastic copywriter. They get to feel like they're delivering value to you and they get to appear smart by referring you. So the better the work you do, the more likely you're going to get those referrals. And referrals have been the key to my business for over 8 years. I very rarely, and now I don't at all, I very rarely solicit new clients. It's just when I have the time and I want to take somebody on, that's the only time pretty much I'll do it. It's been years since I've solicited a new client. It all comes from referrals. Now, when I say great work, here's an amazing thing. It doesn't mean that you have to be this rock star artist and that you have to know so much more than everybody else, so that you have to have this higher level of technical skill. Great work really entails being available, being consistent, and being dependable. One of the reasons my clients always return to work with me again, always refer me, is because they know that if I tell them we're going to have something done on Wednesday, they get it on Wednesday. And in the rare event, look, things always happen, right? And in the rare event that you don't have the deliverable done by Wednesday, I will tell them, okay, this is what happened. You'll have it on Thursday. You'll have it whenever you need it. Clear, frequent communication, and simply doing what you say you're going to do, especially in a world where there are contractors who skip out, disappear, where there are contractors who give up midway, where there are contractors who take double the time. In that sort of world, you just delivering something solid on time with clear communication is going to put you ahead of the crowd. So that's a huge component of what I mean by doing great work. And look, if you're a copywriter, not every single offer that you put out is going to convert like gangbusters, 10x the industry standard out of the gate, right? But being there, structuring your deals such that you can continue to work on them and optimize those deals, that's also included in great work, because you're seeing the longer picture and you're doing the extra effort for your client to achieve their goals. And when you're an active player in getting your client to achieve their goals, they're going to refer you. Now, aside from just thinking about doing great work and getting referrals, you have to remember that if you want a steady stream of clients, I have notes right here, so that's what I'm looking down at. You have to remember that if you want a steady stream of clients, people are going to have to hear about your successes one way or another, right? You have to be on the radar. People have to be talking about you. People have to know you exist. So yes, you can do that through paid advertising and offering a referral program. I'm not super well versed in those strategies because I haven't done them, but the end result is always to have people know your name and have people hearing about your successes. So you either do that through the referrals, through your clients who are boasting and talking and who are thrilled to work with you, or you can promote your own successes yourself. And this is something that I've done many, many times over the years without being super braggy or without coming off like, you're hot shit or something. It's simply a matter of saying, wow, I'm so grateful that this experience happened. So back when I was doing a lot of internet marketing launches, I would say, oh, I'm so grateful we had $100,000 in sales in our first hour. It's so awesome. I'm working with a great team. So now your successes are being proliferated out into the world. And I mean, that's quite a humble brag. You can even be more braggadocious than that if you want to be. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think, if your heart is in the right place and if you're doing this because you want to share your value to the world, and you want to make other people feel better and sharing that wealth with you, then there's absolutely nothing wrong about bragging a little bit and sharing some of your successes. Now, along with that, you can also, and I highly suggest you do, this is something I do all the time, another way to be in the air and be in your prospective client's ear is to share content. Give content to your customers, your prospective customers, all of the time. And that's just another way they're going to think, oh, I need a design, I have to go to this person. Oh, I need copy, I have to go to Laura, stuff like that. And content does not have to take the form of super long blog posts, super long, hopefully we go all night, Facebook Live video like this, or anything like that. Content can be a quick 2 little sentence, you know, this color converts better if you're a designer. Try out the subject line. Short, digestible things that are just gonna keep, it's gonna keep your name in people's mind. And if you set up these things so that you're doing them regularly, you're gonna have that flow of clients coming in or prospectives coming in to, you know, inquire about your services all the time. And when it comes to closing those clients, I have a lot of strategies for that as well. The simplest stuff, and there are times where I will slack on this in my own business to my detriment, is getting on the phone. I don't know why. I've talked about this before on Facebook. Like, sometimes I just get nervous about getting on the phone, even though, you know, I'm like facing my public speaking like anxiety by talking right here on Facebook Live, you know, and that wasn't like the easiest thing in the world for me to do. But it's the same with getting on the phone. Like, just get on the phone. I mean, think of how much more higher a fee a prospective is going to be willing to pay to you when you have that extra layer of trust after getting on a phone call. Of course, seeing them in person and going to events can do amazing things. I love going to events. Also a great way to find partners, employees, expand your contact network so more people are saying your name. And yeah, that is my spiel. Those are all the notes I had about making sure you have a consistent stream of clients coming in through the door without ever having to pay a referral fee, without ever having to pay for an ad. And if you're struggling to get your very first client, then I would sincerely undercut the market and create some of your own work on spec. Go ahead and do the copywriting for your website, make it awesome, and say, you know, if you think this is good, let's try something out. You know, I'm doing a great deal. This is my first time. And I think that's one of the best ways to start, because you're writing and you're improving on your craft the whole time. Oh, I teased sharing my secret to building a team. I got a little lucky with this, but I think it's also a situation so many of you will be able to find yourselves in. And as soon as you think about it this way, it might open your mind a little bit to creative ways to building a team. So one of my very good clients, through working with him, I met his project manager and I stole him, basically. I think they still do some work together, but he mainly does work for me now. So I found somebody who was great at what they do, awesome skill set that I needed, was so important to me. And I knew, you know, that he wasn't getting that much work with my client and that he needed work. And so I came in and said, okay, can you do work for me? So you don't have to necessarily scout people and steal them from somewhere else, but that can be your entry point into finding a good person to hire. They're already proven and vetted because they're working in the same sort of position. You know, they're tried and true. So maybe if that one person you want is totally unavailable and you don't want to scout them, you can ask them if they know anybody who's like them looking for work, because a lot of times people know each other, right? And it all goes back to the power of that referral. So through my project manager and all of his contacts, I was able to find designers, developers, people who do amazing video work, and all of that. And so once you find one really good person, your team can expand from there. So one of the best pieces of advice that I ever got was, if you are able, make your first hire be somebody who can hire everybody else, because then that burden is then lifted from you. It's all on your project manager or your hiring manager, who goes on and hires everybody else on the team. And that is my building a team hack. I hope everybody enjoyed it. I think we got to like 20 minutes, and I know I talk so much, so I hopefully got a lot out for you in those 20 minutes. And yeah, I want to do this again sometime soon. I think the biggest thing that I did that I see a lot of young copywriters struggling with is speed to lead. I'm like lightning fast speed to lead. So sometimes a prospective client will reach out to a writer or any other service provider, or any other potential business partner for that matter. And the person who's receiving that will say, okay, let me hang out. It's almost like this, like what you do in dating, right? Like, let me lag a little bit before I respond so they don't think that I'm desperate. I believe that this is a huge critical mistake. And it was Harlan Kilston who once described your prospects as pigs in heat. And I never, ever forgot that phrase. Like, okay, if the pig is in heat, I got to go fuck the pig. I don't know. I have no idea like the rating on this podcast, but I just had to close the joke all the way. So I would immediately respond to people like, hey, are you available? I'm like, yeah, I'm available. I can take you home. What do you need? In addition to responding very quickly, I always tried to close the deal very quickly. So instead of getting on a phone call and then taking 3 days to write a proposal, first of all, entrepreneurs, business owners are very distractible people, and they have a lot of spinning plates. So by the time you get back to them in 3 days, they have moved on, or perhaps another service provider has stepped in and closed that deal. So I would always, as often as possible, think, how can I close this deal on the phone? You know, if they say they want a sales letter, I'll be like, okay, I'll write you a sales letter. Here's my rate. Here's my turnaround time. I'll send you an invoice right now. And they'll be like, okay. It takes a lot of like the guesswork off of their plate. And I just present them what they need and close the deal really quickly. I also was not afraid as I increased my rates of losing former clients. That'll happen. That's part of the game. But all that does is free you up for the clients who are ready to pay your premium rates. And something I want to say about charging in general, and I think this is helpful for coaches too, you want to charge a rate that empowers your client when they pay it. Because if you're doing something for them for free or for a really tiny amount of money, how empowered are they really going to be? How much value are they going to place on the deliverable or on your coaching or whatever it may be? But if somebody pays me 20 grand for coaching or whatever, they're going to be really empowered by what I give them. And they're going to take massive action on it because they'll be like, well, shoot, I paid 20 grand for this. I have to turn that around. I have to get the ROI out of it. So I better do everything Laura said. And it's quite similar for when you're charging high rates for copywriting clients too. So the mixture of all of that stuff was how, yeah, in my very first year of copywriting, I was able to cross the 6-figure mark. I think I made about 120 grand that year and pretty much no costs. So that money got to be all mine. And I remember going to graduate school for a master's of fine arts in poetry solely because it's a labor of love. And I was the only, poets are usually pretty poor. So I was the only person able to completely pay my tuition with no loans, like straight cash, here you go. And that was one of like the proudest, happiest moments in my life, being able to do that.
So like, what advice would you give a beginner who has a job and a family and they really want to get into copywriting, but the balance is really difficult?
You have to be ruthless with whatever is most important to you. You have to be ruthless with that time. So if you have an hour to write at the end of the day, I would also suggest setting specific days, keeping in mind that whatever any schedule you start out with can change. This is not set in stone. But if you decide that, okay, on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I'm going to solicit clients or I'm going to apply to gigs. I much prefer applying to gigs than cold solicitation because that person is looking to hire. So it just makes way more sense. Or you could do strategies like where you pay to play. You join like somebody's group or mentorship program, and then you're like, hey, I'm a copywriter, by the way. And you become the copywriter in the group. I really like that approach as well. But whatever your strategy is, and you should try all of them, you designate that Tuesdays and Thursdays. That's it. That's the only thing you're doing Tuesdays and Thursdays. And if you got an hour a day to do it, okay, great. One effective hour is, of course, much more productive than 10 hours where you're half dicking around. I'm going to write a little bit. I'm going to watch a training. Oh, somebody posted a gig there. Okay, I'm going to apply to that real quick. Don't apply to gigs real quick. Put thought into how you apply for the gig. Write a cover letter that is fiery and relevant. Write a sample that is relevant and fiery, really good. Make it the best sample you've ever written. And of course, that goes to folds because then you can pop it into your portfolio and be like, look at this hot fire stuff that I've written. So say you do that on Tuesdays and Thursdays. On Mondays and Wednesdays, you're ruthless. You got your 1 hour. Okay, I'm just going to write. I'm going to write another email for so-and-so, or I'm going to write an offer for my own services. Like every copywriter should do this. Like, what is your dream package? You want to sell a $10,000 health supplement sales letter. Okay, every Monday and Wednesday for the next 3 weeks, the 1 hour I have is devoted towards writing this sales letter. And when you're writing, you are writing. You are not writing 20, 100 words, scrolling back up, rereading it, and editing it yet. That is ineffective. It's driving with your foot on the brake, right? Stop, go, stop, go. Just keep writing. Oh, a huge writing tip that I have been using lately, and I got this from Ben Settle, the amazing Ben Settle, is play one song on repeat while you're writing. And he recommends like Baroque classical music songs that like impacts like theta waves in your brain or something like this. Just that one song. So you got your hour, you're working on your sales page for your offering Mondays and Wednesdays. You're writing to the one song on repeat. You'll have that sales letter done within a month, most likely, maybe less. And then you'll finally have a piece that you could point to, not just to hopefully pick up some clients from, but so that everybody can look and say, oh, their copy is pretty good. It's going to put you on the map, whether you close a bunch of clients with it immediately or not. So if you're doing that Mondays and Wednesdays and you're applying for gigs and whatnot, Tuesdays and Thursdays, I would say on Fridays for your 1 hour, create some content. This was one of the huge secrets to my success as a freelancer. I would put out valuable content because it creates the inbound pipes to me. And remember, you're a copywriter, right? So all of this writing for your content should be really good. It should flow well. You should be opening loops, future pacing, dimensionalization, storytelling, all of the stuff that we know makes good copy good. That should be going into your content too. And whether, and you can embed stuff like, when I do this for my clients, blah, blah, blah. Now everybody learns, oh, Laura writes for clients. Shit, I need a sales letter. I'm going to hit her up. So huge inbound pipes to me. So there you go. No excuses anymore from anybody who is totally busy, like we all are. That's valid. But if you got that 1 hour a day and you're really strategic and ruthless with what you do with the time, you will be productive. This is interesting. Okay, you have sent it to me in a PDF, which would not be my preferred way to receive copy from a writer, because then I can't make any notes or edit anything, and it would even be weird to upload it online. But maybe that's what this client likes, totally open to that. It's also weird that this is at the top of it. If I received something like that with that at the top, I would not like it. Here's why. When I receive work from a copywriter, I do not want them to pull back the curtain, especially, and it's fine for me, like I know what's behind the curtain, but if you have clients who do not also work behind the curtain, I hope you get my metaphor here, then don't pull back the curtain. Don't reveal your magic, okay? That's part of your secret sauce. Don't give away the secret recipe. I'm assuming this is an email because you say subject line, even though for an email, it is long and you reveal the price, which sometimes we do in email, sometimes we don't. But I would default to not revealing the price in the email in this example, okay? This subject line is long and not quite juicy enough. And if my phone or laptop is stolen, I don't really consider calling the police. It just seems a little over the top.
What would be more compelling is like a benefit rich outcome that one might not think they could have. So find your lost phone in 30 minutes, even if it's 10 miles away. Something like that. Like lost phone found in 30 minutes from miles away. Something like that. And then I would start there, and I would try to write like 10 subject lines like that to, again, get the friction going and pick up the heat. Okay? You open with this story. I know your client asked you for a story. Yeah? But this, why do I give a shit about any of this? Honestly. If you're going to continue with this story, here is your entry point for the story. Pretty classic. We open with the big dramatic quote. No, God, please. No, no, no. I ran into my apartment sweaty after badminton. Okay, you could still get the badminton detail in there to discover that I had been robbed. It was the worst feeling in the world, right? Go from the experience to the feeling. I felt so violated. I felt unsafe, whatever language you would use there. And things felt worse and worse as I discovered that my iPhone and MacBook were missing. And then I like moving right into this point. This is a great point. And then I shook to my core when I realized all my bank accounts, all my crypto wallets were all on that. And the thief had all of that in his hands right now. So, yeah, you don't need the details of going to update the passwords, I don't think. I would keep it to, we're getting the story down to like four lines, okay? And then we want to be pulling in the reader right away. So I'm sharing the way I discovered, like, to make this never happen again, and to make sure it never happens to you. Another type of story you could tell would be more dramatic, of like, I lost my phone, fell off a cliff while I was hiking, right? And I was alone and scared and had no idea how to get off the trail, I don't know if that exactly works with the tracker, but make the situation a little bit more scary, or really keep it to losing the bank account info. And then, because you had the tracker already, you were able to find your computer and get all your banking info back, and it was safe. That is the just clearer, easier story to tell versus I went through this thing, I ran to my friend's house, I got the tracker, and then somebody else had a positive experience with the tracker, so now I know I'm safe going forward. You know what I mean? It's just a way more convoluted for no good reason. So if you're opening with this and you're getting robbed, already have the tracker on your computer. It makes sense. Whole lot clearer there. So what was this tracker that enabled me to get my computer back and make sure all my personal info, my banking, my identity, my social security number were safe? It's this, okay? It's this. And then here you go. Like, here's everything it does. There's a special sale on it right now. I would not say the price. I would say there's a limited time sale, of course. Say the reason why the sale is limited and it's only going on for 48 hours. And when you say, here's what the software does, I believe you gotta contrast it a little bit against the existing options, okay? You gotta say why this is special beyond whatever other software might already exist, because then people might just get the idea, oh, let me go Google like some sort of software and try to find something for free. So you gotta bring in what makes this one extra unique and valuable. And then, close it down. Tell them to go take advantage of the limited time deal. Okay? So, just making this a whole lot cleaner of a story overall and more compelling subject lines and removing the price. Okay. Thank you for sharing. Hope it is helpful. Mwah! I actually have a free tool for you that will help you best determine which action step to take next given your unique situation so that you can get a win for your business in the next 24 hours. And that tool is over at bizwintoday.com.
I know it's late, but I just got the funny idea to like talk about this because I was thinking about it a lot today and talk to you guys about how to close like a motherfucking rock star copywriter, because I was doing a lot of work on some closes for stuff today. And I was thinking about it in all of these, what I think are kind of unique and kind of powerful ways. So how to close like a rock star copywriter. First of all, I want to go through 3 standard components of your close that you have to include. And then I want to introduce maybe a new way of thinking about closing that's going to elevate all of these components of your close. The close is when you ask for the sale, by the way. It's when you say, all right, guys, it's time for you to go ahead and buy this thing. Okay, basically that's the close. And the more explicit and specific you always are in your closes, the better they're going to be. But first, you want to think about your logical close. So the whole time you've been pitching somebody, it's all gearing up to this very logical close. You told them the problem they have. You told them how your product solves that problem. You've proved how that product solves that problem. You've even explained the stack of value that they're getting in return for the money that they're about to pay you, right? That's all the really standard logical close stuff. Hey, if you want all this awesome stuff we've been talking about, go ahead and buy. And within that logical close are our urgency and scarcity elements that give somebody the motivation to buy right then and there. And urgency and scarcity are actually 2 different things. I think sometimes they can get lumped together, but it helps you to know how different they actually are in your head when you're working on this stuff. So urgency is a reason people have to buy right now that's related to the product itself and why they need that product. Something like that rash isn't going to go away. That's urgency, right? Oh crap, I need this thing right now because my rash isn't going to go away. So think about the kind of rash, the problem that your product solves, and how your customer, your target customer, cannot go another day having this problem, right? They need your product right now. They need to solve this problem right now. That's urgency. They need relief. They need solutions. They need tools. They need all of this stuff right now. That's urgency. Scarcity is a limitation in availability of your product based on either a time constraint, 20% off for the next weekend, right? That's a time constraint. You can also do a limitation in quantity, right? Only 300 copies, only 5 spots, only 10 members, 10 invitations, whatever. All of that stuff also gets lumped into your logical close because it's all logical stuff, right? It all makes sense. That's kind of the standard basic stuff that you got to have in your arsenal before we move on. And I think that's all pretty easy. And I think most of the people who, I know are capable of all that stuff. So good for you. Now we move into your emotional closes. And this is where I wanted to talk to you about pressuring the moment. This was the thought I had today where I was like, oh man, I really got to share this with people. The close is the most important part of the entire interaction, right? It's when you're asking for the exchange of value. You got to raise this moment to its crisis, okay? You have to make it important. You got to pressure the moment. So anytime you're working through your close or you're reading a close and you don't feel this heightened emotional pressure, you don't feel that this crap is important and it matters right now, it's not a good close. So how do you, when you're writing sales copy, raise the moment to its crisis? How do you pressure the moment? You do this by explicitly and specifically saying everything that is to be both gained and lost from your product. And like I said, you're explicit in saying this. So you tell the other person, now is the moment for you to make a choice. That's how you're raising it to its crisis. You make it so that the moment they start to move their mouse or their finger up into the corner to click the X, they're not just clicking an X. They're not just Xing out. They're actually saying no to everything that they want and need and that can help them. That's an elevation, right? Now you're not just clicking that X button. You're actually telling your dreams that they can wait, that you're going to look somewhere else, that you're going to spend more time confused, that you're going to do things the harder way. That's everything that's implicated by them clicking the X button. So that's your negative emotional close, right? All of the ways that they're going to lose out by not getting your product. And that can include more of things staying the same, right? Stagnation, not knowing what's going on. Maybe you have a good day, but then you have one bad day. Inconsistency, looking for solutions over and over, always weighing them out in your head. Do I do this? Do I do that? That's all stagnation stuff. That's one type of bad, negative emotional close. But there's also things are going to get worse. Like that rash is going to get worse, right? So what's the rash? Again, like your Facebook ads aren't going to optimize or scale themselves, right? You're going to be losing more money. You're going to be missing out on everything that you could be earning. You could be missing out on hours of your time that could be saved by this tool. And then with all of the added stress and pressure, maybe your family life suffers. Maybe you lose the desire to achieve your dreams. Maybe you just feel worse than ever before. That's raising the moment up, pressuring the moment to its crisis. Let me have a sip of water. For your positive emotional close, you're going to do the exact same thing. Clicking that button, it's not just clicking the button and spending, $5, $10, $500, however much on a product. Let me take myself into a caveat with that. The amount of pressuring the moment you have to do does depend on your price point, right? Because there's just not that much pressure involved over spending $5 as there might be spending $500, $1,000. So for your higher ticket items, you gotta really raise the moment, even more so. This stuff that I'm talking about, getting really deep, telling people now is the time, that's all definitely stuff that you need to be implementing for your higher ticket. And then it's just only going to make your lower end stuff fly off the shelves with even more ease. But you don't need to do it as much with a $5 product, right? But your positive, emotional, raising the moment up to its crisis. This is the moment that they're going to get the thing that they've been looking for, okay? And when you tell them through the very act of clicking that button, you raise the moment by one, telling them the immediate gratification that they're going to receive, okay? How good it's going to feel that a solution is right beyond this screen. They could breathe a sigh of relief. How good it is for them to feel that your solution is completely risk-free and guaranteed. Because while you're doing all this stuff, you want to weave in your risk reversal, you want to weave in your value stacking, all that stuff, right? So you remind them here how great it's going to be totally taken care of, absolutely no risk. That's immediate gratification stuff. And then you can give them any matter of time frame of gratification stuff that you want or that's relevant to your product and your audience. So maybe in 24 hours, they're able to have a Shopify store online, right? That's a gratification that you're going to give them. That's what they're going to get. You're raising the moment. They're not just saying yes. They're not just buying something. They're going to achieve this goal. You're going to hand it to them, okay? And it all starts with the easy act. So easy of them just clicking that button. And then you go a little bit longer out. Right? Maybe in a week, you've made your first $100 online. Maybe in a month, you've made your first $1,000 online. You want to use believable numbers that, your product is responsible for, but draw it out, right? You don't just start all the way where they're going to be 2 months down the road. It's harder to believe because they don't know the steps to get there. You haven't painted the picture. You haven't been specific. So you tell them first, you're going to feel freaking awesome to get in here. You're going to learn all this shit. Your mind's going to be blown, whatever it is. What they're going to get in a week, what they're getting in a month. And then you tell them, and all you have to do that is click the button. So you're pressuring the moment, but the action they have to take is actually really super easy. So they just go ahead and click. And when you do all that, and then you tell somebody to click, that's like my knife through warm butter close, right? Because they're like, oh my God, there is no other option to click. You have pressured the moment such that, it's almost, I don't want to say life or death, but it's a very important decision for them to make, and they can only really go one way when you've structured and laid everything out like this. So that's my riff on kind of the quick way to close any kind of sale, face-to-face, a script, over the phone, in your sales copy, pressuring. We take a break for a cat. Pressuring the moment, elevating the moment is how you're going to get there. And let me know any ways that you can think of to further pressure the moment, to make it, as important as we can possibly make it, so that exiting out has so much more implication. So buying has so much more good implication. All right. I think that's all I had to say about this. Thank you so much for watching.
Stefan and Justin asked me to talk about what's possible. What's possible with copywriting. this important yet nerdy, artful yet reliable skill that we're all here to learn about over the next 2 days. And I'm so glad they asked me this because it caused me to reflect on my life and my journey with copywriting and to think about a lot of your guys' lives. I know a lot of you pretty well. I would consider you friends. And I noticed some patterns between my journey and a lot of yours. So much so that I even made up an acronym for them. The Fern Pattern of Level Ups. Where are my plant people at? Yes. Bunch of beautiful ferns in here. So we start with lever 1, your financial level ups. And in fact, for many of the people in this room, this is the easiest one, and it comes the fastest. Then we come to your experience level ups. Even flying on a private jet, that's only level 2. God, I really am high maintenance, aren't I? But you'll see why in a little bit. Level 3, your relationship level ups. So many of us in this room together have built incredible relationships. And number 4, your next level ups, which I'm going to go into more detail about in just a moment. Why the hell do I have a picture of chicken here? Because in reflecting on my journey, I realized that before copywriting, I would go to the grocery store and I would sort through every single packet of hormone-laden, unorganic chicken to find the pack that was 25, 30 cents less so I could penny pinch at the grocery store. Now, I don't even go to a grocery store. And when I do get chicken, it's organic and free range because I'm worth it and my health matters. And isn't it wild how much we all know about health as copywriters? Here's another example of a little financial level up that I've experienced in my life. Who always used to shop like this? For everything, clothing, travel, hotels, show tickets, Amazon. Now, high to low, baby. Now I want to stay in the best hotel. Even this very, very expensive hotel is a financial level up for a lot of us, right? Even the ticket that you purchased to be here is a financial level up for a lot of us. And you've already heard so many incredible stories about financial level ups today in our opening talks, on our panel. You see them time and time again. Another interesting thing about shopping, though, I used to browse sales, just to buy useless shit that I didn't need for the dopamine hit. I rarely do that. I shop way less now because I realize that everything I want, I already have. The material stuff is all taken care of. And I experienced a lot of these level ups early on as a single gal, but I think about how critical they are to a family. When you're raising kids who don't have to hear their parents arguing about money, kids who don't have to be told, we can't do soccer camp because the uniform is too expensive, or because our work schedule doesn't allow it. Kids who get fed healthy food without question. This literally changes the neurochemistry in their brains. So this is what is possible and what is at stake. Generational change. And on a lighter note, you'll never have to do fucking laundry again. Fuck laundry. This is an apartment in Williamsburg, Brooklyn, and I had a washer and dryer. This is a luxury in Williamsburg, Brooklyn, and I still didn't do laundry. I still had a service come, pick it up, bring it back to me every week, perfectly pressed. These little experience level ups sort of bridge the gap, right? They come from the financial level ups, and they make you be more efficient. you enjoy more conveniences and more luxury in your life. I actually put up a YouTube video with a tour of this Williamsburg apartment, and I got some pretty interesting comments on that YouTube video. It's a little bit small for me to read, but I think they say something like trust fund, or I can't see it behind me. But yeah, they assume I'm a trust fund kid. And this one says all these darn rich people moving to Williamsburg. God. No, not a trust fund kid, not rich. I'm a little Staten Island girl. My parents, who just joined us to listen to me talk, worked their ass off for every single thing that I had. But no shade to these folks, you know, nothing but love for them. They just didn't know what's possible. Thank God we do.
YouTube thinks it knows you super duper well. They think you know which video you should watch next. Click over and see if they were right. I'll see you over there.